Welcome to On-Site Public Media's No Cap Recap, where we tell you what happened.
And we don't do no capping. I am Serious Marie.
And I'm Brandon Lee. Thank you again for joining us. Well, since the last episode we filmed, shortly after we found out that what?
That Trump got acquitted.
Got acquitted in that second impeachment trial.
What a surprise! I am not.
Yeah.
I'm not, to be honest. I mean, these people vote with their party lines, and even though Trump is out of office, the people that support him are not disappearing. They didn't go anywhere. And the way that these people are representatives of those cult members, they will vote for those people's interests. Mm-hmm. So they did not acquit him.
I mean, on the bright
they did
side,
acquit him. They didn't convict him.
On the bright side, if there is a bright side, this is the most bipartisan impeachment vote in our nation's history. That didn't quite have any effect. 2/3 majority didn't happen. And why? Because Mitch McConnell voted to acquit and then directly after said in his speech that he was responsible for the insurrection. How does that work? It doesn't, but that's the GOP for you. That's these United States for you.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's important for us to know, like, this is why it's important for us to know to vote and take into consideration when elections are, because the president isn't the only person that's responsible for duties and what happens. We need to know about who your state representative is, who your Congress representative is, who your senator is, because these are the people that are in the positions to vote for consequences like this for the president. Like, your representatives are people that are in these positions voting. So don't think that your vote doesn't matter, because it does. Like, it does matter, because in the House that this decision was made in, there was only majority Democrats by like 2 people or something, because Georgia flipped. So if there were more people that were voting, with Democratic interests, if you did care, then it'll make a difference.
I mean, yeah, and that's to dig deeper if we want to, talking about a 2-party system on why it's flawed. Perfect example right here, because people are stuck on party lines. No way to get a 2/3 vote when it's going to be 50-50, almost 50-50, ended up being like 57-43. Doesn't matter. It's never going to happen. So
yeah.
If you're thinking of voting third party, this might be the time to do it. If you're thinking of getting away from being called a Democrat or a Republican, this will be the time to do it. If you don't want to be in the GOP, please. Actually, GOP members, when Trump starts his Trump America party, whatever that is, go ahead and join that. Be our guest. Thank you. We'll take it.
Speaking of representatives, let's talk about Ted Cruz, the senator that decided that it was too cold in his state where people are freezing to death, and decided to fly to Cancun because his daughters said so, according to him.
Allegedly. I don't know if that's the truth or whatnot. He switched his story a couple times.
What happened is...
Yeah, go ahead, get in on that.
What happened is he decided that it was too cold, that he didn't have heat, and so him and his wife, they had like a private group chat, and they put in the group chat like, hey, we're gonna go to the Ritz-Carlton in Cancun because it's a little bit too cold, and if you guys want to go, then we're gonna have a whole like travel agent experience. We're gonna go here, we're gonna get a little bit warm. So that's what they decided to do. Then the messages got leaked by someone in the group chat that was their initial plan. So they go. Ted didn't come in no incognito, nothing. No hat, no glasses. He just straight showed up to the airport.
Showed up as Ted.
So then everybody heard about it. He was getting shamed. He was trending on Twitter. Like, people was going in, kicking his life as they should. So then he decides after he gets there that he's going to come back. So he got bullied into coming back. And we can see from like the ticket stubs initially that he was going to go there, stay for the weekend, and then come back. But then he changed his story and said that he was going to just chaperone his daughters there and then come back. But he had a suitcase, like a suitcase, not even a carry-on.
They said that was a big ass overnight bag.
Like, how much did you need for a t-shirt, a toothbrush, and some boxers, bro? Like, come on now, you don't need a whole suitcase.
That was like the sneaky link bag.
Yeah, spin a night bag. Hey. No, that's not what he came with. So then, when he comes back, he says that. Then he gets on Fox and was like, yeah, I was just being a good dad and my daughters just wanted to go on vacation with some friends. So I decided that I was going to chaperone them for 12 hours there and come back. when, like I said, it was a lie. The messages got leaked. The ticket stubs were revealed. Like, all that was shown to be like, nah, you're gonna go and you're gonna stay. And then not even that ain't even all of it, bro. Then some pundits like Ben Shapiro decided to come out and say, and even Dinesh D'Souza tweeted like, oh, well, what was Ted gonna do? He's just the senator. I mean, he doesn't control the power. What could he do?
They said that there's no hands-on work that Ted Cruz could possibly doing in a disaster like this.
But not to mention like AOC and the person that ran against him decided to organize calls.
Yeah, they were calling elderly people that live on their own, seeing if they were okay. They helped chaperone those folks to heated places, get them food, water, all of that stuff. They've raised over $5 million for the people of Texas. Meanwhile, today there was a photo of Ted Cruz, he tweeted a couple photos of him carrying one case of water into a woman's car. One case of water, $5 million in phone calls.
Hey. I mean, he's a senator. You don't think he has connections to people in the city to do something? And then these people on these same networks blaming windmills? Like there's not windmills in places that get cold? No, the people that are responsible for the infrastructure did not buy infrastructure for the extreme cases of what could happen. It's their fault because they didn't prepare for things like this. Denying global warming, denying climate change, prioritizing profit over people's lives is part of the problem. These are the people that you should be mad at for not preparing for situations like this, for Texas having one power grid and not being connected to everybody, for people's sake of profit having their own power grid. So now everything's shut off. Like, people don't have access. People are not getting what they need. Infrastructure was not built for this. And people are dying. People are freezing to death.
And not only that, if we look at other elected officials in Texas, the mayor of Colorado, Texas, Tim Boyd, put out a couple Facebook posts basically blaming the people that the government isn't responsible to support you. Nobody owes you anything. It's, quote, sink or swim. It's your choice.
Like people don't pay taxes. Like people didn't elect you to be representatives.
He was the mayor. Shortly after he posted these, he resigned, posted another one saying, don't threaten my wife and family for saying these things. Hey man, you said what you said and you said you weren't going to apologize. Then you came out kind of apologized.
It was like so backhanded. You could have kept it, but I mean, it is what it is.
Hey, he's gone
Be
now.
mad at these officials. Elect other officials that are actually doing something. Pay attention to who's in office. Keep track of this because it's very important to know who's responsible for these issues and these problems. And we here at Onsite do want to offer our condolences, thoughts, prayers, everything to those that are in Texas that are going through it. We got word that the grid is mostly restored, but I know that's not the end of the end all be all of the issues that you guys are facing out there. And we want to say like we love you guys and we're going to do everything that we can here to be able to raise awareness and help out there.
If you have family down in Texas, just know you're in our thoughts as well. This isn't an easy time for anybody. We're in a pandemic, we're in a political crisis, we're in the times have been hard, so just please keep your heads up. We'll get through this together because that's what community is there for. That's what we do. When the government won't step in, the people will. So that's what we're gonna do. And of course, in an ugly tragedy like this, guess who decided to show their ugly face?
Capitalism.
Capitalism did. Texas residents, because of their power grid, a lot of them buy their energy supplies wholesale, right? A company called Gritty is a popular one. They had their electrical bills going from around $200 to $500 to $5,000 to anywhere up to $17,000 for this past month. Why? Because it is the epitome of supply and demand. The system is set up to increase the prices the more electricity is being used, so that they say it will get consumers to want to use electricity less to keep their prices low. However, when people are dying, people are freezing, people are hungry, people are shivering, people are trying to survive, this system is going to fail, and it has. They're trying to find ways to correct this system. They're trying to find ways to get funding for these people or to get the government to step in and take care of some of these bills. But I mean, capitalism does what capitalism does, has people dying. They would rather stay cold than drain their life savings in paying for their heating.
Yeah, because people need money to live. And whenever they're saying, hey, you know, like, we don't really care about your life, we just want to make our money. So since you're cold and it's cold, you're gonna have to use it. So pay up. No, this is not. I just really want this I want to make sure that this is brought up and that people understand that it is on these government officials, not the person that lives next door to you, as to why this is happening to such a degree. Like, hotel prices went up to $1,000 a night in Texas.
They went up to $999 a night. People were trying to say that this was a computered issue, blah, blah, blah. But there were multiple sources saying I could not get a hotel because the prices were so high. The rooms were almost empty. And there were people like 15 deep in the lobby trying to get a room, but no one could afford it, blah, blah, blah. This started to happen when the blackouts first started happening, and a lot of the unhoused community were trying to get into somewhere warm. That's when a lot of the hotel prices were skyrocketing. I believe since they have come down, but I believe they're all at capacity. So, or what do they call it? No vacancy, something like that. I'm not a hotelier, but
I don't think that's a word.
I think it is.
No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea, but yeah.
All right, so this week we're gonna go with a little special edition, no cap recap, rapid cap episode. There's been a lot that has happened this week, so we're just gonna kind of list them off, get into them, get out of them, on to the next. It's gonna be fast. How fast is it gonna be?
Faster than a white person's heartbeat whenever they want to say a racial slur. That's fast.
That thing, boom, 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 that thing thumping off. All right, so this week the police, the LAPD, are under investigation, an internal investigation for what? Sending out a Valentine with the image of George Floyd that says, "You take my breath away."
Bad taste. Horrible taste.
There's no reforming that, just letting you know.
St. Louis is gonna pay $5 million to a black officer because they mistook him for a protester. The officer said that they tried to cover up the beating and they kicked him in the face, leaving him unable to eat. Justice is justice, but
there's no reforming that either. Next, an Ohio woman, 24-year-old, went to work, left her two babies, a 10-year-old and a 2-year-old, which I don't know what you was doing when you was 10, but I was fending for myself. I was fine. Left them at the hotel, in the hotel lobby where she had people checking in on them hourly. She went to work. She got arrested for abandoning her children. 24 years old, 2 kids, going to work to support them, got arrested.
Yeah, I think the bigger conversation needs to be about what drove her there. You know, she has to work, maybe couldn't afford a babysitter. I don't really know her circumstances, but I think that that's kind of something.
That's the best thing to do, is to arrest her. That's the best thing for those kids. That's the best thing for that situation. That's what you're telling me. Okay.
There was a power outage in Portland, and a grocery store decided to throw out the food. And so then when people were like, there's food, Portland police decided that they were going to guard the dumpster so people couldn't get food.
Had an armed standoff with people just trying to get free food. Guarding a dumpster. That's what the police is for? That's what we got the police for. Also this week, there was a lot of caucasity. For example, the bird watcher who called the cops on the black man saying that he was threatening her has had her charges dropped because she completed a racial bias program.
Because that's enough to stop racism. Serena Williams, she beat another white woman in tennis because she is the greatest. And the white woman decided that she could slam her racket out of frustration. You know, it's a game. But nobody said anything to her. And then when Serena slammed her racket, there were plenty of caricatures and angry black woman propaganda being promoted.
Arina Sabalenka, Diary of a Mad White Woman.
I mean, she was 2 heartbeats away from calling the manager of that racket.
In this week's special edition Rapid Cap, No Cap, Recap, Cap of the Week, we have a white lady on TikTok. Guess what she did? She gorilla glued her hair. Last week you would be familiar with the black woman, or the past couple weeks, gorilla glued her hair by mistake, made an accident, got a GoFundMe together, got surgery to get her hair.
Even though she was like 30 something.
There's a gorilla product for your hair. Not saying they look similar, but there is a gorilla.
How you go from hair products to wood products?
Hey, it might have been at Walgreens. The aisles are small. There aren't that many.
Anyway.
So this white woman then accidentally gorilla glued her hair made TikTok saying she needs help, put up a GoFundMe link, basically appropriating a black woman's mistake, saying she got money doing it, I want to too. Y'all just don't know when to quit. Y'all gonna appropriate anything you can.
Even mistakes.
Even mistakes.
Apparently.
Y'all don't care about your hair, and we know it. That's why y'all do whatever you want to. You be putting it in box braids when your gonna fall out afterward. You gonna lice, with your nasty.
Oh my God.
Y'all do whatever you want.
Randy.
Y'all need to relax, calm down, all settle down. But cap of the week, all goes to you, ma'am.
And on top of all of that, because the cap don't stop there.
Don't stop.
We have planes literally falling apart in the sky. Engines failing.
Engine burning.
Burning
on fire.
in the sky.
Fire.
Luckily, the people landed safely back in Colorado, but nonetheless, planes were on fire. Not even just, you don't gotta worry about the snakes, Sam. Just fire.
Snakes on a plane. I got it. It took me a second. I got you. I'm tired of these motherfucking snakes.
On this motherfucking plane.
Also this week we had a new video come back from the Mars rover Perseverance, also known as Percy, and his little helicopter friend up there. They are spending millions of dollars, and NASA spending all of this money when we have people dying in the streets of Texas, people dying in the streets all over. We had an 11-year-old boy die in a trailer home in Texas, but we have money for Mars, space exploration, when we can't even stay on the planet we're on currently.
Can't sustain this. Now we've got Tent City in LA, but no one cares because they're mostly black and brown.
And lastly, the feds seized $3 million of cocaine-coated cornflakes.
Do you need milk for that?
You do not. That's one hell of a breakfast.
Yikes! And with all of that going on, you have a conservative news media, Newsmax, talking about how unpresidential Joe Biden's German Shepherd is.
His 13-year-old German Shepherd, a man brought on 2 presidential historians to discuss how unkempt and dirty this dog is, who's probably on the last leg of his life.
Is it because the dog is brown? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
No, you're not.
I don't know.
And now it's time for our no cap quick fact, where we take the whitewash facts
and we put the color back.
Hey. All right. I'm gonna pick.
Go ahead, do your thing.
You gonna read me? You?
Yeah, I got it. So this week we have Claudette Colvin, which is the young 15-year-old at the time woman who was dark-skinned, who was before Rosa Parks sat on the bus and refused to give up her seat. So, she did it first. Rosa wasn't the first, she wasn't the only, neither was Claudette the only, but she was before her.
And a lot of times, these stories get pushed under the rug, and the reason this one was because leaders of the movement felt that a young, dark-skinned woman wasn't the right face for this event. And that goes on to taking the large topic of colorism, sexism, patriarchy, all of that into the historical context of the time, which, yes, there was a black movement. Was that black movement for everybody? Kind of just like, the women's suffrage movement. Was that for black women's suffrage? So there's still some racial implications. There's colorism, there's patriarchy, misogyny, all of that.
Yeah, a little bit of it all. But, we made progress, which is good. So thank you, Claudette, for your contribution. We really appreciate you. We love you, Queen.
All right, and that is it for another episode of On-Site Public Media's No Cap Recap. Thank you for joining us, and as always,
no cap,
no cops,
no problems.
Do your thing.
We will see y'all next week.